welcome to this our course, and here now we are going to talk about localization. Localization. We try to touch this complete lesson on localization, and we are going to take some practical examples. Then, simply put, what is localization? When we talk about localization, what is it? Localization simply means the process of adapting content, interfaces, and functionality of a product or service to meet the linguistic, cultural, and other specific requirements of a target market. What we refer here as the local market. It means that as translators, our job is not just to translate a document. Sometimes we are called upon to adapt the text that we are translating according to the local market so that it can be clearly understood by the local population. That is why usually when we talk about localization, we are talking about what? We are talking about translation, what we do well, but then sometimes we need also to add what? Cultural nuance to that. We need to add also at times technical nuance to legal adaptation too, so that we can meet the requirements of the local population. We are going now to see some real-world examples of localization versus translation. For example, we have this small task here in English. Just look at this text in the English language. It says, we offer fast delivery and free returns. We offer fast delivery and free returns. This is the text that we are encouraged to translate. But then in this our case, we are not just going to translate it, but we are also going to localize it. How do we go about this? Let's move on now to see. When you are to translate, we offer fast delivery and free returns. What is the translation into the French language? Nous offrons une livraison rapide et des retours gratuits. That will be the correct translation. Nous offrons une livraison rapide et des retours gratuits. But then, if you were really to localize this, we offer fast delivery and free returns into the French language, what will you say? To localize it to the local context, what are we going to see? Livraison express et retour gratuit sous 30 jours. That will be the text localized. You say what? Livraison express et retour gratuit sous 30 jours. If you look the English part, you are not seeing any 30 jours. But why did we add it there? Because when you localize this text into the French language, you have to respect the French shopping norms. And according to the French shopping norms, you have to mention 30 days, which is common. That is one for those of the French background. You need not to translate and add now when you are localizing the livraison express et retour gratuit sous 30 jours, so that you can make the text to be easily understood by those of that local community. And that we see the importance of not just translating, but if you are called upon to localize the text, we need to understand what is the local context so that we can properly not only translate, but also localize the text. Now let's see now some key areas of localization with some few examples. We are going to touch the first one in the marketing and branding slogan. For example, in English, what do we say here? Finger licking good. For example, this is an advertisement with KFC. Finger licking good. Now, how do you localize this now into the French language? We are going now to say what? C'est si bon que tu te lèches les doigts. C'est si bon que tu te lèches les doigts. You see? Because if you are to translate this word for word, or just do a normal translation, the literal translation will sound strange or even unappetizing for the French culture. But the translation that will really make sense for them will be this. C'est si bon que tu te lèches les doigts. And you need to adapt it to the local context for those who are reading it there to really understand what it means. And you need to adapt it to the French culture. See, that's what they say. You adapt it to the French culture and even their tone. Now, what about in e-commerce? For example, we used to have what we call to action. In English, what do you say? Add to cart. Add to cart. Now, what do you say now in French to really localize it properly? Ajouter au panier. You see that cart becomes panier. You will not say what? Basket. You see? Say card becomes panier, which is more natural in French e-commerce. In the add to cart will become ajouter au panier. Now, what about children's product instructions? How can we properly localize some of these products? Let's take some few examples here. For example, we say in English, mom approve and kid friendly. Mom approve and kid friendly. How do we adapt it? How do we localize it now so that those of the French background can understand it better? We are going to say approuvé par les parents, adoré par les enfants. What do you see here? You see that mom was replaced with les parents. You are not just going to use mom, just this mom. This is just one person. In French, it will not make sense for them. You will not just say approuvé par la maman. That will not, it's true, but it will not really be proper. You need to localize it. You see, mom becomes les parents to suit this cultural norm. You see, and gender inclusivity in French-speaking countries. Because parent, you have mothers, fathers there. But for English culture, you just say mom approve. It's understood there to include all parents. But in the French culture, now you have to add what? Les parents. And that we see the importance of localization in the translation industry. Now, what about time, date, and even numbers? Let's start with date formats. For example, in English, be it US or UK, what are we going to say? March 5th, 2025, or what do you say? March 5th. You see, what do you say? March 5th, 2025, if you are in the US. You see, March 5th, 2025. Now, what about if you are in the UK? Because the US was this one. In the UK now, what do you have here? You have now 5th of March 2025, or you write it this way, 5th of March 2025. That's how you are going to write. Now, how do you need to translate it into the French language? You need to localize it. You need to adapt it to the way they write these dates. This date now will become what? le 5 mars